Who is your greatest influence? Hey guys, what's up? I'm Arly. Welcome to another Arly Asks. And today I am asking who your greatest influence is. I just said it. Anyway, I thought of this question because I kind of I kind of come up with these questions because as I talk and as I talk in other videos, light bulbs go off, you know. So in I've kind of touched on things that have that have to do with this topic, and then I'm like, okay, I can talk about this. So then I come up with the condensed question, and then I can talk about it more. So, and this question, it'll be a little bit more general than like the what is your what's it called? When did you find your calling, or what is your calling? I was a little bit specific about that question and kind of canceled out some things that people could say. I'm not going to do that for this. It's, what or who is your greatest influence? What has influenced you in a way that kind of seeps into your very being on a daily basis, even when you don't think about that person or that thing, that you've kind of adopted a piece of this thing or this person. And that's kind of what I'm getting at here. And for me, it's a person. For me, it is my dad. And that's why I thought of it, because I have kind of touched on little things here and there that my dad has influenced me in other videos. You know, like I've mentioned, he's influenced me in terms of he got me into catching bugs and basically being a nature lover. And that was a huge impact on who I am now. It's something that I just am, and even when I don't think about it, that's who I am. And it started very, very young. And I find a lot of little things, a lot of and things I won't go into specifics about. Sometimes the phrases I say, or the tics I have, or like the little tiny things, the way that I talk sometimes, a lot of that is influenced by the way that he talks. And those are just little things that I've noticed. A huge impact on me, and kind of, it's an impact that evolved. But a huge impact that he had on me was music. He is someone who loves music. He is someone who would collect vinyls when he was young. He's someone who he had very good speaker systems, like the best he could get when he was younger, at his age, at his time. He also he also had really good headphones, which led to me, like, now I collect headphones. Like, I try to find the best headphones. I have like 2 pairs of Beats. I got Soul Republics. I got what's that other one? Skull Candies. Like, I have a lot of different kinds of headphones that I go for both style and quality. He went for mostly quality. The point is, I adopted some things there. But in terms of music taste, now that is something that I think really influences me on a daily basis. Not that I like all of the same music he does, but as a kid, I'll bring up the travel. We would always go on trips, and he would be the one to basically take me and my siblings everywhere. He was the driver. He was the one who planned out a lot of the vacations, and he was the music choice as well. He was the one, even on our old cars, we would have like the cassettes or the CDs, and he chose the songs that he liked, and I ended up loving all of them, or almost all of them. So a lot of the bands he likes, I still like to this day and listen to them regularly. But then when I analyze the type of music that I like now compared to his generation, there's a lot of similarities. And I'm not going to say that, like, there's similarities in musical style and like how voices sound, but there's also similarities in like the type. Like he likes basic oldies, rock and roll, stuff you find on your rock station, like your alternative rock station. But like AC/DC and what is it? Now I can't think of it. AC/DC, yes. The Who, like stuff like that, like old, not old, but like Rolling Stones, like that era, Kiss, a little bit of glam rock, like, you know, stuff you'd find on like an 80s compilation, I guess. And I love that crap. I love it so much. But there's also a lot of bands he listened to that are not even well known for their time. And honestly, Yes is well known for a couple of songs, but he's like a Yes fanatic. He knows all the songs, or most of them, and he likes a lot of the songs that are not well known or not well liked, even by the Yes like fandom. So he's kind of like, I guess if I had to compare, he likes the indie bands and songs of his time, and I find myself really into indie bands of our time. And like, I do notice similarities in like, we both really like instrumentation in rock and in alternative. You know, like he loves synth and violins and you know, like different like harmonicas and whatever you can add to embellish a rock song. You know, you still have your typical rock alternative feel, but when they add extra instruments and they really kind of tie in a lot of stuff, that sounds good to me. So, I'm trying to think. One of the bands that he liked that was lesser known is called Gentle Giant, and it's another, you know, they got weird sounds. It still sounds like rock, but they add a lot of weird time scales to it, and they have like a different key, and like it sounds different. And a lot of the bands I like nowadays sound different. Granted, indie pop and indie rock is a little bit more mainstream nowadays because of music streaming apps, so a lot more people can find them. I think that was part of it too, is that when he was a kid, a lot of the, you know, there was no internet. You couldn't look stuff up. If you wanted to hear about a band, or if you wanted to like a new band or whatever, you had to go to the record store and buy a record, or listen to a record, or somehow hear it on the radio, be lucky enough to hear someone playing a lesser known band, or go to a show and like hear the band opening for someone more popular or something. So it was a lot harder to find indie bands back then as well. So I understand that much. But it's just interesting that like nowadays, even when I'm on my own, because I take walks all the time, and I try to find alone time where I can just jam out. I'm by myself and just be lost in thought and listen to music for a good hour. And I find myself jamming out to a lot of the songs that he likes, as well as songs that I feel are comparable between the generations. Like songs that I think if he were my age now, he would probably end up liking them. Like, if that makes sense. I mean, I've never actually shown him any of the songs I like that I discovered. Maybe I should. Maybe I should see what happens. And the reason I am talking so long about the music aspect is because I think music is probably one of the greatest things in my life. It is so influential, and my music taste being influenced by my dad, that all melds together into who I am in a big way. Music is really just a huge part of my life. It helps me through things. It helps me to feel more intensely, whether I'm feeling happy or sad or upset. It kind of concentrates that feeling for me in a way that I like. You know, like even when you're angry and you listen to music that makes you angry, it still feels good somehow because you want someone to feel the same way as you. You know, like that's kind of, music is just a huge part of my life, and that is really one of the biggest areas where my dad has influenced me, I think, and that is just one of the many reasons why he is my greatest influence. So I mean, the more I started going down the list, the more I was like, you know, man, my dad basically turned me into a naturalist. He influenced the beginning of my music taste, and it just ran away from there. His mannerisms, his his talk-isms, whatever you want to call them, a lot of them I've adopted, which is also funny because it seems like some of them he's adopted from his mom, from my grandma, and rest her soul, she was also of that ilk. Like, she had a similar personality, and like I definitely got along with my grandma. Like, I clicked better with my grandma on my dad's side than I do currently with my grandma on my mom's side, and that's just the truth. There's just, for whatever reason, there was more chemistry there for like personality chemistry, where we actually got along and didn't have a divide in the generation gap, so to speak. Let's just say my grandma on my mom's side would have a problem with my colored hair, whereas my grandma and my dad's side really wouldn't, and that's about as basic and non-detailed as I can get in terms of that relationship. But yeah, it definitely seems like I take after that side of the family, and a lot of the things that my dad did, a lot of the stories that my dad tells, I relate to. Even like as an adult, like he'll tell a story of him as a kid, and I'll be like, hey, I relate to that. Like that's something that I've been through, and and it's weird. It's weird. I feel like if I were to break it down, I think me and my sister definitely take after my dad more, and my brother takes after my mom. And he was kind of the middle child, and he was really coddled by my mom as a young child, and that's kind of how things split. I mean, I have a great relationship with both of my parents. I'll say that right now. There's no issues to speak of. But I always kind of lean towards like I'm kind of like a miniature version of my dad. Like that's that's the way I think. And I think a lot of that has to do with me feeling that influence on a daily basis, like I don't notice it most of the time, but the times that I do notice it, I'm like, yeah, that's my dad coming through me. And that's, and that's special to me. And so that's why I chose him as my influence. But yeah, I think that's good enough to go off of for now. In all honesty, there's more. There's always more. I could always go deeper. But I don't want these videos to be like novellas, so to speak. I don't want them to be like long. I just want them to be me touching on a subject, and then you guys telling me your story. And hey, if you want longer videos, I can make longer videos. I mean, I'm not against it. I kind of like these shorter videos, these videos that you can get through like you would like a cartoon episode, something that you could just sit down for 15 or 20 minutes, take it in, and then go about your day, and hopefully want to watch the next one. That's all I'm saying. Leave a like if you can. I'm not going to be pandering this very often, but leave a like if you enjoy this, or if you enjoy this channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, and click the bell, because everyone's got to click the bell now, if you want updates. But I really hope this is something that I can start to build a community around, and that people will actually enjoy conversing with me, so this can become even more of a two-way street. I want this to be something where, like, right now I'm thinking of so many topics, and I'm trying to come up with the content, but I'm hoping that this will eventually turn into something where it's a back and forth, and that way it'll be a little bit more organic, so to speak, instead of me doing all this planning and listing, and which is all fine and well. There is work to be done, but I do want this to be as casual as possible, and as just simple. I want it to be simple, conversational, and enjoyable, hopefully. Hopefully I'm entertaining. I tend to think that I can be entertaining, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd be able to sit through watching me for 15 minutes. So, those of you who do, greatly appreciate it. But yeah, that's all I got for now. So, see you in the next one. Goodbye.